There is a room in every dealership in this country that you are never allowed to enter. You sit in a chair. You wait. And while you wait, things are being decided about you, not for you, without your knowledge or consent. They call it going to talk to the manager. And that phrase, that little ritual, is one of the most precisely engineered moments of financial manipulation in retail history. I'm going to tell you exactly what happens behind that door, not approximately, not in general terms, exactly. Because I've been on the other side of it. For 15 years, I sat in those back offices. I watched managers work numbers on buyers who had no idea what was being done to them. I've heard the language, I know the systems. And I left that industry because at some point you either become comfortable with what you're doing to people or you don't. I wasn't comfortable. The average used car buyer spends between 4 and 5 hours at a dealership on the day of purchase. That's according to a Cox Automotive study from 2023. 4 to 5 hours of sustained psychological pressure dressed up as customer service. And the single most powerful tool in that pressure campaign, the one that costs the dealership nothing and extracts the most from you, is the moment your salesman stands up, says he needs to check with his manager, and disappears. What you believe is happening, a negotiation is taking place on your behalf. What is actually happening is something else entirely, and once you understand it, you will never sit in that chair the same way again. The manager's office visit is not a negotiation. It is a performance. Every element of it has been engineered. The timing, the body language, the duration of the wait, the expression your salesman wears when he comes back, the words he uses when he sits back down. All of it is scripted. Not metaphorically scripted, actually, literally scripted. Most large dealership groups put their salespeople through formal training programs, some run by outside consultants, some produced in-house, that walk through exactly how to execute this moment for maximum profit extraction. Here is what that script looks like from the inside. When you make an offer or push back on a price, your salesman is not going in there to fight for you. He is going in there to receive instructions. The manager already knows your deal. He's been watching it. In most modern dealerships, the CRM, the Customer Relationship Management software, is feeding the desk manager a real-time profile of you as you sit there. Your trade-in value has already been looked up. Your credit has likely already been soft-pulled. Your payment tolerance has been estimated based on what you told the salesman in the meet and greet. The manager is not hearing about you for the first time. He's been running your numbers since you walked in. What the back and forth accomplishes is not price discovery. It's patience attrition. Every trip to the manager's office has a function. The first trip is designed to establish your ceiling, to see how you react to being told no. Your salesman comes back with a counter that is not a real counter. It's a test. They want to see how firm you are, how emotional you are, whether you're going to stand up and leave, or whether you're going to stay in that chair and keep talking. The FTC has documented this negotiation structure in multiple reports on dealership sales practices. What they describe matches exactly what I watched happen on showroom floors for 15 years. The wait itself is not accidental. They are not back there running calculations that take 12 minutes. The wait is a pressure tool. Research in behavioral economics, specifically work done at the intersection of consumer psychology and high-stakes retail, shows that extended waiting in a low-control environment creates a psychological state primed for capitulation. You've already invested hours. You've taken time off work, or given up your Saturday, or dragged your family down there. The sunk cost of your time is being used against you, deliberately, by people who understand exactly what they're doing. By the third visit to the manager's office, most buyers have abandoned their original price position entirely. That is the goal, not to meet you in the middle, to wear you down until you accept their middle. The NHTSA and FTC's combined consumer complaint data shows that auto dealerships consistently rank among the top sources of consumer complaints in the United States year over year. The manager's desk negotiation is specifically cited in FTC enforcement actions, including a 2023 case against a major dealership group for what regulators called the four-square method, a pricing trick built entirely around this exact back-and-forth structure that obscures the actual cost of the vehicle behind payment manipulation. I want to explain the four-square because it is the engine running inside that manager's office visit, and most buyers have never heard it described clearly. The four-square is a sheet of paper, sometimes physical, sometimes on a screen, divided into four boxes: vehicle price, trade-in value, down payment, monthly payment. The dealer's job is to get you focused on one of those boxes while they move money between the others. You negotiate the monthly payment down by $50 and feel like you won. Meanwhile, they extended your loan by 6 months, reduced your trade-in value by $800, and kept the vehicle price exactly where it was. The numbers shifted. Your cost didn't. According to a 2022 analysis by Consumer Reports, the average American buyer overpays on their vehicle financing alone by between $1,000 and $3,000 over the life of the loan, compared to what they would have paid if they had pre-arranged financing before entering the dealership. That gap exists almost entirely because of payment-based negotiating. When you talk payments, you lose. When you talk total out-of-pocket cost, the dealer loses leverage. That's the first thing I want you to take out of this. Before you sit down at any dealership, you know two numbers: total purchase price, including all fees, excluding only tax and registration, and your financing terms, interest rate, and loan length, which you have already secured from your bank or credit union before you walked in the door. Rates from your own bank or credit union are almost always lower than dealer financing. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, dealers are permitted to mark up the interest rate they receive from a lender and keep the difference. That markup is called dealer reserve. It averages between 1 and 2%. On a $30,000 loan over 60 months, 1% dealer reserve costs you approximately $900 that goes directly into the dealer's pocket, not to the lender. It is legal. It is common. And they are counting on the fact that you don't know it has a name. Get your pre-approval before you go. Credit unions typically offer the most competitive rates. Navy Federal, Penn Fed, your local credit union, most allow you to apply online in under 15 minutes and will give you a pre-approval letter within hours. Bring that letter with you. When financing comes up, you already have a rate. You're only using their financing if they beat it. That shifts the dynamic in ways they do not enjoy. The second thing to understand is what I need to check with my manager actually translates to in real time. There is a phrase used internally at dealerships called the turnover, or the TO. When a salesman can't close you, or when you're pushing harder than expected, he goes to the manager not just to get a number, he goes to get a different person. Someone senior, someone more skilled at reading resistance and redirecting it. The manager coming out to introduce himself is not a courtesy. It is an escalation. He's the closer. His job is to identify the specific psychological lever that hasn't been pulled yet and pull it. Watch for this. If the manager comes out from the back and sits down with you personally, the salesman has flagged you as a difficult close. That is not an insult. That is a compliment. It means you're doing something right. The correct move when the manager sits down is to say nothing you haven't already said. Repeat your position. Do not allow the conversation to be reset. Any time a new person enters a negotiation and tries to recap what's happened, they are looking for an opportunity to reframe the situation in their favor. You say, here's where I am. I've offered X for the vehicle. I need my trade-in at Y. And I have financing at Z% already secured. If you can work within those numbers, we have a deal today. If not, I appreciate your time. That's the whole conversation. Everything else is noise. The third tool, and this is the one they are most afraid of you walking in with, is called a real market value reference. And specifically, I want to walk you through how to pull it in 3 minutes on your phone before you ever sit down. Go to marketcheck.com. It is free. Enter the VIN of the vehicle you're considering. MarketCheck aggregates actual dealer listing prices across the entire country for that specific vehicle. Not a range, not an estimate, but what comparable vehicles with similar mileage and trim are actually listed for right now at other dealerships. You will see in plain numbers whether the price you're being offered is above, at, or below the market average for that exact car. Print it or screenshot it. When your salesman or manager gives you a price justification, this car is priced right for this market, you put the market check report on the table. Real numbers from real listings. Not your opinion against their opinion. Documented market data against their asking price. That changes the conversation immediately because there is nothing to argue with. It's not a negotiation at that point. It's arithmetic. Additionally, pull the same vehicle on CarGurus. CarGurus uses a proprietary algorithm that rates dealer listings as great price, good price, fair price, high price, or overpriced relative to current market data. If the car you're sitting in front of is rated high price or overpriced on CarGurus, you have documentation that says so. Show it. I want to stop here and mention something. Everything I'm putting together for you in these videos, the tools, the documents, the inspection checklists, the F&I scripts, it's all compiled in the Dealer Vault. One place. Link is in the description. It covers this topic and goes deeper into the financing and trade-in side than I can fit into one video. But don't go there yet, because what comes next is the move most buyers never think to make, and it is the one that removes almost all of the manager's office's leverage in a single sentence. The most powerful thing you can say at any point during a dealership negotiation, and I mean this without qualification, is, I need to think about it overnight. That's it. That is the move. Dealerships are built around same-day decisions. Their entire sales system, the meet and greet, the demo ride, the desk presentation, the manager visit, the wait, the counter, all of it is designed to reach a close before you leave the building. Because they know statistically that if you leave without buying, the probability of you returning drops sharply. Their own industry data supports this. So, I need to think about it overnight is not a stall. It is a dismantling. It removes the time pressure entirely and returns the decision-making to you, on your schedule, in an environment where you're not surrounded by their systems. The response you will get is some version of urgency. This car won't be here tomorrow. I can only hold this price today. My manager said this offer expires when you walk out. These are fabrications. Inventory does not disappear overnight. Prices are not volatile on a 24-hour basis at most dealerships. These lines exist for one reason, to make you afraid that inaction costs you something. It almost never does. If they tell you the deal expires today, smile, stand up, and say, then I'll take my chances. 9 times out of 10, they call you before you reach your car. The fourth thing to walk in knowing involves your trade-in, and specifically how it is used as a distraction during the manager's office sequence. Dealers evaluate trade-ins using a combination of internal tools, primarily Mannheim Market Report for wholesale values and sometimes Black Book. And then they present you with a number that is positioned as generous but calculated to leave maximum room for profit. The average spread between what a dealer pays for a trade-in and what they resell it for is between $2,000 and $4,000, according to NADA used vehicle data. Some of that spread covers their reconditioning and overhead costs, not all of it. Here is what they do not want you to know. You are not required to trade your vehicle in at the dealership. You can sell it privately. You can sell it directly to Carvana, CarMax or Vroom. All three will give you a cash offer online within minutes, and CarMax offers are valid for 7 days and honoured at any of their locations nationally. Pull those offers before you go to the dealership. When the dealer presents a trade-in number, you already know what the market says your car is worth. On Carvana and Vroom, the process takes under 10 minutes. You enter the VIN, answer a series of condition questions, upload a few photos if prompted, and receive a binding written offer. CarMax is similar. Their online appraisal takes about 2 minutes and results in a 7-day written offer. If the dealer's trade-in number is lower than your outside offers, you say, "I've got a written offer from CarMax at X. Can you beat it?" If they can't or won't, you sell it privately. Their leverage evaporates the moment you hold a competing written offer in your hand. By the time you've done these 4 things, secured your own financing, pulled real market pricing on the VN, gotten outside trade-in offers, and decided in advance that you will leave if needed, the manager's office visit becomes almost irrelevant. There is nothing they can show you on that walk back to the desk that you don't already have a documented counter for. The wait is just waiting. The counter is just a number you compare to your research. The urgency is just words. The salesman who goes into talk to his manager is walking into a room where 2 people are about to figure out how much they can take from you. With what I've just given you, they're walking in to figure out how much they have to give. That's not a subtle shift. That's a structural one. You are no longer the easiest sale of the day, and they will sense it. Experienced salespeople can read a prepared buyer within 5 minutes of sitting down. The questions you ask, the way you reference specific numbers, the calm with which you receive their counter, it signals that their standard playbook won't work. And the standard playbook is where all the profit lives. There is a version of you that walks into a dealership next month knowing everything I just told you. That version of you sits in that chair without the anxiety, without the clock running in your head, without the social pressure to seem reasonable and not difficult, because you know something they assumed you didn't know. You know what's in the room they won't let you into, and the entire system they've built around keeping you in the dark only works if you stay there. The used car industry in the United States moves approximately $800 billion a year. The margin in that market doesn't come from efficiency or innovation. It comes from information asymmetry, from the gap between what they know and what you don't. Narrowing that gap is not something the industry has any incentive to help you do. That's why this channel exists. Every time you share this with someone who's about to walk into a dealership, you've handed them something that took me 15 years and too many deals I'm not proud of to learn. The knowledge doesn't have a cost, but not having it does. If you haven't already, subscribe. Not because it helps my numbers, because the next video covers the F&I office, which is where the real money gets taken after the manager's office already softened you up. That room has its own script, its own pressure structure, and its own set of tools to dismantle it. You'll want that one before you need it. Everything shared here is general consumer information. Always have a qualified mechanic perform a full pre-purchase inspection before buying any used vehicle.